Hello everyone. I thought I would do a short video on how to develop your reading skills. I have given you this information before, but new students keep joining and some of you keep forgetting what I told you. So let me just put it out in a video form. So reading is really important if you are serious about learning English. Uh, that's for any level, for anyone. Because some of you seem to be fixated on the idea that you need only spoken English. Therefore, you don't need to focus on reading and writing. The issue with that is for you to develop your spoken English, you need to understand the structure of the English language, which is very different from the structure of the Tamil language. It's completely different language families. So for you to get an idea of the grammatical structure, the vocabulary, the spellings, the way the syntax, the words flow together, you really need to read. There's no way around it. So whether you want only to speak or whether you want to do a high level exam like IELTS, you have to read. But especially the people who are going to do a high level exam like IELTS have a long term plan because 90% of Sri Lankans do not have the capacity to just go and do the IELTS exam. They need to study for 2 to 3 years. I keep telling you this. So to study for 2 3 years, you have to study strategically. It's not enough just to come to class on Saturday and Sunday and forget about it the rest of the time. So you have to have a game plan. And one of the fundamental building blocks you need for that is reading regularly. So from whichever level you are right now, that's why I pair you, put you into groups at your particular level. I have classes in different levels, elementary in one level, pre-intermediate in one level, so that you can study together and I can give you materials pitched at your level. So if you are studying in pre-intermediate level now, you should be able to read basic sentences already, speak basic sentences already. And it is at that level that I give you materials. And from that level, you have to develop yourself and keep developing up to at least intermediate level before you attempt the IELTS exam if you want to be successful, if you plan to do an exam like that. Okay, now let's get started on what kind of materials are available. The first thing to do, whoever is located in a place like Jaffna or Colombo, get a British Council library membership. That will cost you about 2,000. It was 1,500 up till last year. Now they have made it 2,000 per year. Still worth it. You can get about 4 books and 2 DVDs per week. Make sure you return it per week, otherwise there will be a big fine. So you have enough material there for every day of the week. You can read one book in 1 hour. You just need to time yourself. The problem here is that many people don't have a reading habit. So they postpone it, they procrastinate, they find silly excuses. Unless you tell your brain, I am sitting down from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, no other distractions, I will only read, you will not do that. You will cheat yourself. So understand yourself, have some discipline, set a timetable, and for 1 hour per day at least, read, and you can finish one book like that. So if you read a book every day, you can keep moving from one level to the next. For example, if you start reading at elementary level, in about 3 months, because you have read a book every day, that should come to about 50, 60 to 100 books. And then you can go on to the pre-intermediate level because you understand everything at the elementary level and you have mastered it. So first things first, go to the British Council Library, get a membership. The Baticolor students, I'm not sure what to do about you because you don't have the British Council there, I think. Try to see if you have a local library that has English books. Only problem is that they will not have graded readers. We'll have to look at, that's why I share some of the graded readers here. You can download and read it. I'm not sure how many of you are being consistent with that. Coming back to, let me just show you what you can do. So on YouTube, you have a series called Learn English Through Story. And they have it at different levels. You have level 0, which is very simple, everything in the present tense. You don't have to start there. Level 1, which is again far simple for your level. This is elementary level. But let me show you what a level 1 story looks like. Share sound.
Lifebuoy shampoo milliliter 100 pouch එකෙන් දැන් රුපියල් 135ක වාසියක්.
Part 1. From San Francisco to London. When I was 27 years old, I worked in an office in San Francisco. I did my job well, and my future was promising. I was alone in the world, and I was happy. On Saturday afternoons, I didn't work. I sailed my little sailboat on San Francisco Bay. One Saturday afternoon, I sailed out too far.
Okay, you get the idea. This is level 1. Fairly simple sentences, but they cover all tenses, past tense, present tense, and sometimes even future tense. At pre-intermediate level, you should be able to follow level 2. So let's look at level 2. They range from 20 minutes to 1 hour. And these are from different providers. It's not from the same channel. So sometimes the levels actually might vary, like level 1 might get quite difficult, level 2 might get quite easy, depending on who is providing it. And then, so there's no consistency here. It can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, but still a good resource though. So explore it whenever you have the time. Is this level 2? This is level 3. Let's see, I want something simple for level 2. Okay, let's try a trip to Dubai.
Chapter 1. Happy Times. It was the best week of my life. Only 7 days, but 7 good days. And then the trouble began. But I'd like to tell you about the good days first. On Saturday, my father came home and told us about his new job.
You're looking at the new financial manager at the Eastern Trading Company. More money, a company car, and a driver,
he said, smiling at us. We were very happy to hear the news. My father worked very hard, day after day.
All right, so you get the idea. So pre-intermediate level, you should be able to follow this. If you find it difficult, then start from level 1 and build yourself up. But ideally, you should be at this level already where you can follow this. So the sentences are longer and the words a little more complex. The grammatical structure, the vocabulary is a little more complex. And it will keep growing like that. So after watching about 10 to 15 of these videos, move to level 3, which will get a little more complex. And there are higher and higher levels like that, 5, 6, 7, it keeps growing. So let's look at level 3.
Artists in the world. Chapter 1. Introduction. Michael Jackson was a famous singer and dancer. People called him the King of Pop. He was born in 1958 in Gary, Indiana, in the United States. He died in 2009 in Los Angeles, California. Michael was one of the best-selling music artists in the world. He sold more than 350 million records. Michael started his music career when he was very young. He was only 6 years old when he joined his family's group, the Jackson 5. The group was very successful. They made many hit songs. Some of their popular songs were I Want You Back and ABC. People loved the group and their music. In the 1980s, Michael started his solo career. He made many famous albums. Some of them were Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. These albums had many hit songs. People all over the world listened to his music.
Again, you get the idea. This doesn't seem to me that much more difficult than level 2, but like I said, it depends on the providers. So level 3 is supposed to be slightly more difficult than level with more complex grammar and vocabulary. So keep building yourself through the levels. Listen every day, because listening here has the added advantage where you see the words, but you also listen to the pronunciation, because pronunciation is a big thing here. Many of you are not exposed to the English language, so you don't know how it is pronounced. And when you read it without the pronunciation, then you might mispronounce it. So it's good to have audio tapes like this also going, get exposed to that. Okay, this is one factor. Now to actually read the books, because the audios are really not enough. There are not enough books necessary for your level. So that's why I said, come to the British Council, get the membership. And if you do, let me just show you. Let's start with. Okay, so go to the librarian, ask her for the graded reader section. It's right there at the front of the library. So the graded reader means they have taken actual adult books and then written it in much simpler English for adult learners who are learning it as a second language. So the first level is beginner level. It has a purple tag. The books are color coded. So you'll see a series of purple books. You don't have to start at this level. If you're studying at the pre-intermediate level class, you shouldn't start here. Very, very simple. Everything is in the present tense. Very short sentences, simple English. Even a beginner level student should be able to understand this. So when I started teaching some of you last year at elementary level, I showed you these books. We read some of them. I sent you the whole list for you to read. Problem is, some of you didn't do it. And now we see the problem with it. Like those of you who didn't do it at that time, who didn't do the homework of reading these very simple books, now you're struggling in the pre-intermediate level. This is why I say step by step. When I make it easy for you, don't dismiss it as too easy and not worth your time. You have to enjoy yourself. You have to relax. But don't think it is so easy that you can dismiss it, because it will get progressively more difficult and you have to keep climbing the steps up there. Otherwise, you'll get left behind. And some of you now who didn't do this at the elementary level have got left behind. Okay, so this is the first level book. It's about a parrot who was caught from a forest and kept in a cage in America and how he flies home. So the title is Flying Home. So you can see here a parrot kept in a cage in a land full of skyscraper buildings. Okay, just read through this. Take 2 minutes to read through this and see for yourself. It's very, very simple English. It should be too simple for you. At pre-intermediate level, this isn't the level you should start at. But just understand what the level is. Look through that. Felix is a blue and yellow bird from Brazil. He lives with the Baxter family in New York. His home is a big cage. It is on the 40th floor of a tall building. Felix likes the Baxters, and the Baxters like him. They give him food, they talk to him, and show him to all their friends. But Felix is not happy. He wants to go home to Brazil. All right, so I'm sure all of you understood that. Very simple words, short sentences, everything in the present tense. That's beginner level. Once you get comfortable with this level, they start introducing past tense. So the next level, between elementary and beginner, it's a yellow color code. So here, still fairly short sentences, but now they have moved into past tense. A mix of present and past tense. Girl meets boy. Okay, I'm sure Jude will enjoy reading this. So the style of the book At the front is the cover. You get a fair idea of what it is about. At the back, they give a small summary about what the story is about. Okay, this is Donna's story. And she's standing on a ship, enjoying the sea breeze. So go through this. My story starts in late July. It was July 21st, I think. It was the first day of our holiday, a hot July day. I stood in the sun and looked at the sea. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. I was on the boat at Portsmouth, that's the name of an area, Portsmouth, with my mother and father and my sister Louise. Seabirds played near our big boat and the small boats near to us on the sea. All right, so still simple English. You can understand it, but now they have started introducing past tense. So the grammar has become a little more complex. Next level is elementary level. So some of you in the pre-intermediate level now, you are still not at a level where you can read pre-intermediate books. So I have sent you these books, elementary level books. It's still weaker than the pre-intermediate level. But here you get all the tenses, and again, becomes a little more complex in grammar and vocabulary from the previous two books. So it keeps increasing in the level. Heidi. So this is the story of a little girl in Switzerland. It's a very famous English story. So Switzerland, as you know, is a country with many mountains. So she is a mountain girl. You can see it, mountains, a small hut. This is where Heidi lives. Alm Opa. Okay, that word is new. I also don't know what it is. We'll read and find out. The little village of Dofli was high up in the Swiss Alps. Dofli is the name of the village. Swiss Alps is a range of mountains like the Himalayas, the Indian Himalayas, the Swiss Alps. It's a range of mountains in Switzerland. So this little village is high up in the mountains of Switzerland. That's what they're trying to tell you. There were mountains all around it. Big, beautiful mountains with snow on them. The nearest mountain was called the Alm. Okay, so the village of Dolfli is in a range of mountains, and the nearest mountain next to it is the mountain Alm. High up on the Alm was a little wooden house. An old man lived there alone with his 2 goats. People called him Alm Opa. So Alm is the name of the mountain. He is called Opa. That's uncle in Switzerland, actually. So he is the mountain uncle, Alm mountain uncle. He had quarreled with the people of the village, and now he never spoke to anyone. They are introducing new words. What you should do is be able to guess what the word is. He had quarreled with the people. Okay, what do you think quarrel means? Look at the rest of the sentence. He had quarreled with the people of the village, and now he never spoke to anyone. Okay, so after quarreling, he never spoke to anyone means, what do you think quarreling means? That's how you develop your language. My advice to all of you, pick a book where you can understand 90% of what you read. There will be 1 or 2 new words on each page. And then you have to guess the word, find the meaning. If you can't guess the word, then you can look at the dictionary. So I'm not going to tell you. Try to guess what quarrel means, or look at the dictionary and find out. And then keep reading. Okay. All right. So some of you who are quite weak in your reading English, I would say start at elementary level and finish all these books, at least 10 or 15 books, and then come to pre-intermediate level. Next level is supposed to be your level, is pre-intermediate level. Anne of Green Gables is again a very famous English story of a little orphaned girl called Anne. So she was an orphan. She doesn't have mother or father. She was living in an orphanage, and a brother and sister pair adopted her. So this is her story of what happened to her. Green Gables is the name of their house or farm where they brought her up. A surprise for the Cuthberts. Cuthberts again is a name. Don't get upset if you see new words. Just ignore it and keep reading. Over time, you'll figure it out. Matthew Cuthbert lived with his sister Marilla on their farm on Prince Edward Island in Canada. Okay, so it's a brother and sister living on an island in Canada. Their farmhouse, Green Gables, was just outside the little village of Avonlea. So again, they have a farmhouse which is called Green Gables, just outside a small village called Avonlea. Matthew was nearly 60 and had a long brown beard. His sister was 5 years younger. They were both tall and thin with dark hair. Everybody in Avonlea knew that the Cuthberts were quiet people who worked very hard on their farm. So neither of them were married. Brother and sister, 55 and 60, living together on their farm, hardworking people. One afternoon, Matthew drove the horse and cart to the station. Okay, so you can see the picture. This is a horse and cart. Has the 5:30 train arrived yet? He asked the station master. Right, so this is pre-intermediate level. It's a very interesting book. There are books, movies and cartoons made of her story as well. So once you finish the book, you can watch the movie, watch the cartoon, learn her story better. Anne of Green Gables, it's a very famous story. So if you are able to understand this level, then start at pre-intermediate level and keep rising. So above that comes intermediate level, and then upper intermediate level, finally advanced level. If you reach advanced level, then you can read any book in English. But you have to build yourself step by step to get there. So once you understand 100% of this book, move to intermediate level. Once you start understanding 100% of the words in intermediate level, move to the upper intermediate level. That whole process from beginner to advanced will take 2 years if you read every day. So be consistent with it. Consistency is important. And if you do, your vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure will improve not only in reading, but then your writing. If you plan to write, especially for exam takers, you need this. This is the basic building blocks. You can't skip it. So make sure you do this consistently. That's my advice to you. Okay, we'll stop there. Stop recording.